Hey, thanks for watching My Favorite Groomer on YouTube, and thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to me, more than you know. Okay, so video 3 of the anal gland situation. So a client calls on the phone, or when we're talking about checking in and coming in, or they come in and they have the dog with them and they're like, I wanted to get anal glands done. So this is exactly how I say it, and I should copyright it because this is my words, my verbiage. So if you're going to use my words and verbiage, please go back and say, I learned this from Dee Dee Croy with My Favorite Groomer. This is what she believes. This is what I agree. So here are my questions. So I always give credit to people who educate me in all avenues, with my degrees, with my businesses, with real estate, everything that I do. Don't take credit for something you learned from somewhere else. Like I learned a lot at PetSmart, I learned a lot at the veterinarian clinic, so forth. Okay, done with that. You're welcome to use my verbiage, but please give credit where credit's due. So client's standing in front of me and they're like, I need anal glands done. And I'm like, okay, every dog has anal glands. Every dog does not need anal gland expression. So let me ask you a few questions. And they'll be like, okay, ask me a few questions, right? So it's let's just say we got a Pomeranian, and I say, there's four signs the dog needs anal gland expression. The first sign is the dog is scooting the hiney on the floor, and I like to say more than once a month. So if a dog is dragging its butt on the ground, those anal glands are full enough to be causing a pressure impact back there. It may be painful. It's definitely causing issues for me to go, oh my gosh, I wish you would just express these, okay? This is what the dog's thinking. So he's scooting the hiney on the floor to try to push that fluid out himself, okay? And let me go back and tell you what I feel like anal glands are, and this is exactly how I explain it to a client. So I've been doing anal glands since 2003-ish, and I've been doing internal anal glands expression since like at least 2005, right? 2004. So it's a long time. I've done a lot of anal gland expressions, and I've seen all kinds of scenarios. So this is my study of myself doing anal glands and what I see and what I've been through with these animals. Okay, so and I was like, what's the best way for me to explain anal glands to a client like yourself, like not the groomer, but the pet owner, that they can understand what is going on in the body. So this is my verbiage. And I'm not a veterinarian. Y'all know that. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm a groomer. Okay, so I like to explain it like anal glands are two water balloons in the anal area of a dog. So you lift the tail, the water balloons, which are the anal glands, there's two, one on each side, right? So I lift the tail, and it's one here, right on the inside of that anal area. Like literally, like it's right in there. Now, every dog is different. You have an overweight dog, you have a non-overweight dog, you have skinny dogs, you have a tiny dog, and they still have them. Sometimes the tiniest dog, you have to go in there and you feel horrible because their little anal area is just so tiny, you got to put your finger in there. It's just horrible. But it needs to be done in certain situations. Okay. I have studied it long enough, and I can see if you were to do anal glands on a little tiny dog every week, is going to loosen the muscle of the anal area. So that's why it's like, dude, if you don't need to do anal glands, it should not be done on every dog. Every dog does not, just stay away, okay? And when I start doing anal glands on a dog that needs it done, I literally tell the client, if you're gonna go somewhere else, if you're gonna make sure they're doing it internally, otherwise it's gonna mess everything up, or potentially mess everything up. It's about who's behind, doing that, right? If they are educated, if they know what they're doing, because they can cause an abruption. You don't know what you're doing. You're sticking your finger back there. You could tear something, break something, pop something, and then what then, So I might be losing my train of thought. Let me go back to, okay. So now you understand anal glands are like two water balloons. Every dog has them. Every dog does not need them expressed. It goes by genetics, it goes by what the dog's eating, their environment, what they're consuming. It could be not their dog food, it could be just these pepperonis or anything that they're consuming that the body is just able to create more fluid with. That's what I've seen. I don't know about pepperoni, I'm just saying. I'm just giving an example. I don't feed pepperoni. No offense, pepperoni, but change the ingredients and then we'll talk. Okay, so Let me go back to, so those are anal glands, 2 on each side, and then they'll get filled with fluid, and you'll, okay, now we'll go into why you have to express. So 4 reasons why you have to express. 1, scooting the honey on the floor. They're so full, there's pressure there, painful pressure probably, the dog's scooting. If the dog scoots once a month, likely it's scooted and released that fluid, which is why sometimes, I don't know if you ever noticed, sometimes it's brown, and it'll be like, oh gosh, there's a little dot on my carpet. If you have beige carpet, you'll really see it, and you'll be like, oh, you got it out, right? And if your dog's getting it out once a month scooting, great, leave it alone. Just let that, this is my opinion, leave it alone. Once it becomes where the dog's scooting like once a week, a couple times a week, I mean, it is pretty full. The dog's like, I am uncomfortable. So then you want to seek someone experienced to do internal anal gland expression. The next sign is a funky, fishy odor. It is fishy. Like, it is just, ooh, it is foul and it is fishy. And I cannot explain it other than that. So if a dog is excited, so there was one client, if the dog jumped on the couch, it would just like a mussel, right? It's like poop, and it would just squirt a little bit, and you could smell it. It would be so full. And this is like a Australian Shepherd mix. Australian Shepherd, yeah, like a cattle dog, a big dog. So it gets on the couch. It's like it jumped, so it squeezed its own little, butt a little bit, the muscles as it jumped, and you could smell it like, oh gosh. And so she would know, Dee Dee, we got to get in. A real fishy odor regularly. So if it's like once a month, then obviously it's squirted a little bit out. But they're so full, it's like a water balloon, so it's so full that someone needs to go in and excrete it, right? If it's a problem, if you're smelling fishiness all the time, like regularly. Or when we do an expression and there's no fishiness for a month, and then the fishiness comes back, then it takes about a month to fill up. The next sign is nipping or chewing the tail. So I see a lot of the smaller dogs will actually scoot their honey, but rarely, like 1 out of 25 will be big dogs will actually get that arch and actually scoot. They do still, there's some funny videos on YouTube. They still do scoot, but it's very like rare. It's just less. It's less that big dogs will scoot. Big dogs will usually, they'll be running around, everything's fine, like running through the living room, and then just, they'll like look around, they'll look back there and be like, what, something pinched me. That's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I see. They'll be like, something pinched me. And they'll like, like something's back there. Nothing's back there. That means those anal glands, those 2 balloons are pinching back there. And like so full, they're pinching each other. Okay, feces has to come between those anal glands. So if it's real full, sometimes they won't even poop, you know what I mean? Like it'll be painful and it'll be pinchy. So that may be happening. Nipping or chewing the tail, and that would be it. Like they're looking at their tail, they'll lay and lick a lot, lick and chew their tail area. Like that, sometimes they can't reach all the way back there, so they're getting their tail. So that's the third one. And then the last one is just something we can't avoid, which is a dog will absolutely do nothing. So I had a client, Jean. Hey Jean, I hope you're watching this. And she is a great example. I've been grooming her dogs, Butch and Cassie, the Papillons. I don't know if I have a video of them. I don't think I do. I've been grooming her dog for years. At least 8 years without looking at the file. So Butch, at least 8 years. It may be longer than that. So at least 8 years in, bam, one day his exploded. Never even showed her a sign, didn't lick him, didn't smell, nothing. They just got so full over time, or just the body changed after getting real old. When we get old, when a dog gets old, when an animal everything starts to change. Our skin, our organs, everything starts to change. So I will see a lot more of that number 4, which is they absolutely do nothing. They show you no signs until one day you're like, wow, you got blood back there. They blew up. The anal glands actually blew up, like a balloon blowing up. And they're usually hanging outside of the body. They're a little bloody. It's a little raw back there. And you're immediately taking your dog to the vet. And then your vet usually is going to sew them up or cut them out and sew them up. Whatever they're doing, they're trying to repair that area. It is a real tough area to heal, so it does take some time. But at that point, like, there's nothing I could have done. There's nothing anybody would have been able to do because the dog is so silent about the pain. Unfortunately, that's real. Okay, So the reason why we do anal glands, so those two water balloons get full due to a few things I already mentioned: genetics, what they're eating, consumption, their environment. Usually it's what they're eating or their genetics, right? So they get so full, and if you, if I were to just lift the tail and do the external anal gland expression, apply pressure, I might get some fluid out if it's full, right? But if I use gloves and lubricant, I'm actually able to go inside the body and push on the backside of that balloon and get like the entire balloon empty. Excuse me, I burped. So if you can imagine, that's why I'm like, once I learned how to do internally, I get it. Like, why am I messing with it externally? Like, leave them alone. Because you'll never get all the fluid if you do it externally, so what's the point? You take a water balloon and you squeeze the tip here, you're actually applying pressure that goes back and forth. So then the fluid that's still full in the balloon, when you're able to just apply pressure, you're not going to get all that fluid out. So if I can't get all the fluid out, why am I even messing with this? So if you don't know what you're doing, leave them alone and have your client go to someone who does know how to do it internally. And that's the question is, you call your veterinarian. Hey, who does anal glands? The vet tech. Does the vet tech do it internally or externally? And that's a question. A good question to ask. You go to the groomer. Hey, do you guys do anal glands? Well, if you do it externally, leave my dog's anal glands alone. There's no problem. There's some groomers, I do groomer supplies, so I know a lot of groomers and I talk to them. There's some groomers that the bather does every dog's anal glands externally. And when that dog leaves and goes home, the client might not even realize it. Sometimes they could pop when they get home, just by abruption if that person doesn't know what they're doing. So take this knowledge with you and don't be afraid to question something that you don't know about when you get to your groomer. So you could be like, hey, you guys do anal glands? Do you do it internally or externally? Does your bather do every dog? Some places are so busy. I mean, unfortunately, some places are so busy. So many dogs are coming in. Every bather does every dog's anal glands, and then they don't even tell the bather. They tell one bather, and there's 6 bathers, and they don't even tell and there's like 35 dogs. Well, there's a chance that someone's still going to do the anal glands if everyone's not on the same page. So just put that in your head. I personally would not want someone to touch my dog's anal glands because every dog has them, and every dog does not need them done. Just because a dog's standing in front of you doesn't mean you have to do an anal gland expression, okay? That's real, and that's my opinion. Okay, so now we've got our 4 signs of why you would do anal glands. Now, I think I'm good here. I think I'm good telling you about this. Okay, so I might do a video 4 because I'm going to think about a few things. If I'm missing something, I'll come back and do a video 4. Thanks for watching My Favorite Groomer, and we're talking about anal glands today. If you have further questions, get on my website, myfavoritegroomer.com, and shoot me an email. If you need to buy supplies like lubricant, anal or gloves, if you need anything, I would love to be your source because, I mean, this is what we do. We're in business, and we should all support each other. And you learned from me, so why not support the place you learned everything from, or this stuff from. I'm not everything, but that's what we do, and it's not about money, it's about being in business and the time that it takes for me to educate you from your wherever you're at, in your car, in your house. I just appreciate your support, and you can support me by shopping through me, so why not? I also have a Gofundme page. It's gofundme.org/myfavoritegroomer. My dad set that up for me so I could support all military veterans with PTSD dogs, and I groom them for free. So pass the word on. It's not about money. It is about letting people know that I do that. So in any case, let them know that they can find that here. If every military PTSD dog should know me. So I really want that to blow up. There's only one way we can give back, and that's the moment we choose to give back. So give back what you can, especially in the community that you live in, because you just never know where people are and what they're going through. And again, thanks for watching, and I might have a video 4 on anal glands. I gotta think about some things. So peace, thank you, bye.